Alrighty. So I decided to give a talk about how to be safe while drinking or while using drugs. Um, this is for my speech class. I'm going to share a couple of stories and then I'm going to get into ways and things that you can do to be safe while experiencing alcohol or drug use. So the first thing, I have a friend and I was listening to their life story. He started drinking whenever he was 16. His dad was just diagnosed with cancer. Um, he was a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and he was going off this deep path, and he did not really know how to handle things, and so he turned to alcohol and drug use to be able to handle and to deal with feeling the things that he felt. One of the things about the dangers that he talked about that I had the pleasure of talking to him about with, he spoke of the dangers of having to deal every day with the constant battle of those feelings and with those habits. And one of the things that he does is that he set himself up a set of rules to follow. And he explains some of these rules, and he has a personal belief that everybody should have a personalized set of rules for whenever it comes to drinking or alcohol use. One of the rules that he has is that he is to drink 2 times the amount of water as he is to any type of alcohol. Now, alcohol in itself is very destructive. There's lots of people that go to parties, get absolutely drunk and wasted, and then the next morning they have a hangover and they have a blackout memory and no idea what happened the day before. And so he set up these rules as a way to help protect himself. He'd seen the dangers of having friends drink and then drive and die in a car accident. He'd seen the dangers of having friends die early from alcohol poisoning and from friends overdosing. And so one of the things is that he set up these rules for himself. So as I said, one of those rules was to drink 2 times the amount of the water as he does alcohol. So if he were to drink a total of, let's say, a water bottle of 64 ounces of alcohol, which is a ridiculous amount of alcohol, he would have to drink the equivalent of 128 fluid ounces of water to counteract that alcohol in his system. And that was just one of his rules that he had. And it was always one that made sense to me. Another one of his rules that he had is to always have a friend or somebody who can be responsible and to find you. The reason why he has this rule is because one night him and his friends got drunk, and he said that the next morning he woke up butt naked in a field, and he was actually in an entire different state. And he had to walk over 30 miles to find a road. Now, that gives you some idea of where he is at. He was in Kansas. So he had to walk those 30 miles to get to that, just to get to a road. And then he had to walk an additional 10 to find a house before he could call and get home safely. And so he always had a rule to always have a friend, to know where he was at, what he was doing, and basically be there to bail him out. So now one of the things that when he was taking drugs and partaking of alcohol, one of the things that he would do is that he would, to kind of like nurse that hangover after you have when drinking, one of the things that he would do is that he would take painkillers, let's go with that, to help numb the pain. He would use these as a way to kind of like be able to focus, get through the day. Now, here's something that you need to know. Whenever you have a hangover, you need to be able to work and to function. And in order to do that, one of the quickest ways to deal with a hangover is to hydrate. It's your best course of action if you want to get over a hangover quickly, is to hydrate, 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 and keep hydrating throughout the day. Because whenever, according to the FDA, whenever you drink alcohol, you're changing your blood composition of your body. And so the more alcohol you drink, the more that composition gets out of whack. Your body's going to try to bring it back into balance. And that it makes it hard whenever you have a ton of alcohol in your system. Your body's trying to adjust. And it's just like, oh, is this part of us? Is this not? What do we do? And so one of the best things you can do is to hydrate, because then it flushes your system it flushes your kidneys, first of all, which is important whenever you're drinking. And it flushes it so that you can deal with the alcohol and the hangover. Now, the painkillers is used to help numb the headache, so to speak, a little bit. That way you're able to get through the day. Now, you don't need a lot. From what I understand, the most you'll ever need is about 2, maybe 3 on a really, really bad day. But that would be about it for if you're using Tylenol or naproxen sodium. So those would work. Another one of these rules that he has is to write down let me get this right. Write down how much, the time in which, and the method of which it was used. Now he uses that for both drinking and for his drug use. He smokes marijuana. And so one of the things that he does is he keeps a log of how much he would smoke. He'd also keep a log of the time in which he would used it. He also would record things like how long the duration would last. He would record where he was at, where he was going, if anybody was with them, or sorry, not with them, with him, I should say. And so he would do all these things to help him be safe. And so these are just some of the things that he would do to help him be safe. And one of the biggest things that he said to help deal with this, to deal with the recovery, is to make time your friend. The longer, and for him, this isn't always necessarily true for everybody, but for him, one of the things that he would do is that he would count the number of days he had gone without alcohol, and he would use that as a measure to help keep him on the path of recovery. And time became his friend. He didn't look at it as a metric for to see how far he got or to race it or whatnot. He used it as a metric to determine how far he had come and how far he can keep going. So I guess to wrap all this up, in conclusion, the biggest thing that you can do to be safe is to have your own set of personalized rules if you are going to go drinking or participate in drug use. You need to have water and stay hydrated. You need to keep a record of what you're doing and keep in mind of the time and everything of what is happening. Do all these things and you'll be safe, and you won't have to deal with the consequences, as my friend did, of having to bury his friends while still in high school and having to be in that crash with them and see their bodies. So I wish you guys the best and stay safe.